me. Welcome to our Adroit Ignite HMI Tech Talk. I see there's Johan from Spectrum. You've used Adroit before, haven't you? Johan, are you there? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
I'm trying to say I didn't mute it.
Yes, we can, John.
Okay, great.
I can hear you.
Oh, that's good.
Just want to see.
Okay, so let's begin. Basically, today I'm going to be going through a brief introduction to our Adroit Ignite HMI software, followed by an introduction to the application launcher, which launches the software and all the other associated applications. I will go through the built-in demo that we ship with the package, and then we will go through the Adroit Ignite HMI, getting started, how to show you how to do basic design work inside the Adroit. We'll follow that with a question and answer session at the end. So let's begin. Okay, basically, what's in a name? The Adroit name of our product comes from a French word meaning skillful or clever, but it also has various other meanings: smart, ingenious, wizard, masterly, intelligent. And you'll see once you go through the package, it has a very apt meaning for our product. As well as being of French origin for the name, basically, we have also created an acronym which then stands for an Advanced Distributed Real-Time Object-Oriented Intelligent Toolkit. Okay, so that's the basic meaning of what the word Adroit is. So basically, from a license perspective, looking globally, we are based here in Johannesburg, in South Africa, and we have sold licenses throughout the world in 6 different continents and over 40 countries. And collectively, there's quite a few, more than 25,000 licenses sold worldwide. So if you can see your country on the map there, let's have a look to see where we are. So basically, these are some of our basic customers, some of the international customers that we deal with, being Cadbury's, Bridgestone, Bosco, Anglo-American, De Beers, all over the world. From a industries perspective, Adroit is in, I would say, the majority of industries. I wonder if your industry is actually mentioned on the list here. So it's a very versatile product that can be used in virtually every application around. If you visit our website at www.adroitscader.com, this is the landing page where you'll be able to download the software by clicking on that button there, which will take you to a little form that you fill in with your name and details, and then you would be presented with this page where you'll be able to download the software here and the associated documentation that comes with it, explaining how to navigate your way through the software, how to install it, etc., etc. We quickly want a brief look at that. Let's launch the website. Here we are. So this is the website where we've got more details regarding the product, what services we offer. There's also videos here, the download page for all extra documentation, technical documentation, available drivers, hardware specs, etc., etc. There's a link to the demo, and there's also the shop. If I could just show you the shop quickly. What you'll see here is in our South African rands, but if you open it up from an international perspective, you will see it in dollars. So here you can go in and grab the free software the 8-agent software, or the 30 tag, 75 or 150 tag. Feel free to shop around and buy our product. Let's go back to the presentation. So basically, is everybody still following me? Everybody can still hear me? All good?
Yes, and I've unmuted everybody. So
Okay,
you can
great.
unmute yourselves, yeah.
Lovely. Okay, great. Okay, so looking at the Adroit HMI Ignite software, let's have a look at the components, the main components that make up the package. So basically, we start off with the data layer at the bottom, where you would be communicating to various front-end devices such as PLCs. And as you can see there, we talk to all the major PLCs that are available on the market, the Mitsubishis, the Siemens, the Schneiders, etc., etc. Also IoT devices, there's over 100 different protocols that we can communicate to. The next layer is our agent server layer, which is our real-time database. And this is where all the agents or tags in this case get configured from a scanning, alarming, and data logging perspective. The engine below that is the Ignite server or the Smart UI server, which then exposes the graphics to the sources in the agent server. And then we have our client layer on top of that, which is then our designer, and obviously the operator station, where you can view from various modes, be it a runtime operator or a mobile device or even a web client. And that is basically what the Adroit Ignite consists of. Very briefly, very quick overview, but we'll get into more details later on in the presentation. So as I said, we have over 100 different device drivers that we can that we ship with the package. There's certain drivers that are licensed, the Siemens Ethernet and the Allen Bradley Ethernet, but the majority of them come packaged with the package, which is all freely available to you. So the Adroit Ignite comes in 4 different varieties or sizes. There's the free one, which has got 8 agents, and then they have a 30 agent system, a 75 and 150 agent system. And it's ideal for small system builders, system integrators, OEMs, and also for training facilities. On top of the agents that come with the package, you can actually expand to have 2 operators or 5 Performance Anywhere mobile clients, or Adroit Air, which is a mobile phone client. You can have a maximum of 5 of those to complete your system. From a licensing perspective, as I said, it's all based on agents or the number of scan points that you would have. Depends on what front-end device driver you are looking for, and the majority come built in. How many view clients you need, Performance Anywhere clients or Adroit Air clients and mobile clients. And the pricing on the right-hand side here is in dollars. So you can see you can pick up a 30 agent for $250 or 75 for $350, and they're upgradable. Once you have bought a system and you feel that you need some more tags or more agents, you can simply upgrade between one version and the other. Okay. So I've mentioned agents, and agents are our building block, and most systems, they're called tags, but ours are agents because they are intelligent objects. I'll get into more details regarding what the intelligence behind them actually is. But if we have a look at our different types of agents that we have, the more common ones that you would be using would be your analog and your digital agents coming in from your field. But as you can see, there's multiple other agents that are available. And they are all configured through our agent configurator, which I will be showing you once we get into the designer. Here you set up your alarming, your scanning, and your logging for the various agents. Okay. Everybody still with me? Any questions at this stage? No. Okay, let's carry on. So we have, in order to animate on our graphic forms, we have behaviors, and these provide either animation features or additional functionality to the items on your graphic form. So basically we have 4 different types of behaviors. Good morning, Ranjit. We have display, transform, color, and action behaviors. So just to explain that a little bit in more detail, a display behavior would be for us to display, let's just say, an analog value from the field, a temperature or a pressure, or a visibility where we can actually hide and or show certain items on your graphic form depending on the state of a digital or analog value. We can display tooltips regarding information on that particular piece of equipment. We also have transform behaviors, which you can actually move location, you can rotate them, or you can size them accordingly, depending on certain values. We have color behavior, so you can turn buttons red and green, depending, or pumps green and red if they're running or not running, or you can have a percentage fill behavior for tanks and etc. And then there's action behaviors where you can actually configure or change set points, or you can have an execution command, which would then open up another graphic form or display something else on your screen. But we'll get into more detail once we get into the designer. I will show you how easy it is to configure all these behaviors. Shipped with the package, we have a built-in simulator. Now this simulator has a couple of different simulations in there, and we have used this as our front-end device just to animate our mimics, but I'll show you how to work it. So this is very powerful, very easy to use. There's multiple simulations that come shipped with the package, be it the batching plant or the filling plant or the conveyor system. And it actually helps you to learn and how to configure the software. And it's great for testing and training purposes. I'll be showing you this as we go through the demo. So that's basically enough theory for the day. Let's get more into the practical side of things as well. So let's break away from the presentation here. And I will show you, once you've downloaded the software, you will end up with an application launcher icon on your screen. Let's just get there now. Okay, so this will be the application launcher once you've installed the software. And by double clicking on it, you will open up the application launcher. And this is it. So if I can spend a couple of minutes just running through what the application launcher is all about. So from this dialog box, you'll be able to run the demo configuration with a single click of the button. That'll just run and it'll start everything up. It'll start the designer, it'll start the operator, and start the batching simulator in the background. You can then, through the designer, make changes to the demo. And if you're not happy with that, you can then click this button here, which would revert the demo back to its original configuration state. We have added a video link. So if we click on, let me just take you here first of all. We can take a video tour. This will then launch our YouTube webpage, where we have a whole lot of introduction and videos regarding setting up and adding and scanning and creating new configurations. This is an ongoing project. We're adding videos I would say on a weekly basis, we'll be adding to this just to help you get started. Okay, so that's great to have a look at once you can actually go through the videos. Also here we have further down over here, we have more menus. So if we have a look at the HMI configuration and licensing, this is our licensing utility, where once you send us your V2C file, we will then create a license for you and send you a C2V file, which you would load into here, and that would be your license. Or you can then create a new configuration, so you can have multiple projects stored in your Ignite HMI software, and by selecting whichever one you want, you will be able to run that one. We also have the Ignite config editor, which enables you to configure all your settings for all applications regarding the Adroit HMI software. From the menu Ignite applications, here you can run the individual components. As we mentioned earlier in the presentation, here's your agent server, your designer, your operator, and your agent configurator, where you can actually configure all your agents. What we've included now as well is a timed license, which you'd be able to run the software package for a period of 2 hours without having to have a license, so you can actually just play around with it and test it. Shipped standard with the product are various utilities to help you commission and test. There's a driver monitor, scanning monitor, and an OPC browser and server. We also have the OPC batch server here, which is our simulation package. Also, we've thrown in a few documents regarding the demo itself, how to get started, what all the pages on the demo mean. There's a quick start guide, which is a step-by-step guide in how to configure, edit, etc., etc. And for the advanced users, there's an Excel add-in tool, which will help you with the configuration of your agents. Bulk configuration helps you there. Okay, so that's basically the application launcher. So without further ado, let us launch the demo and let's go through it. So by just clicking on that button, I will be able to run the demo. So what's going to happen now is that the agent server, the Ignite server, and the operator are all going to start up. And there we are. We've launched our demo package, launched the software. This we term a landing page, which is easily configurable. So over here we have a menu system where we can show various applications up here. If we look at the batch plant, this is our overview page for the batching plant, where we have various indications here on the batch status. On the left hand side, we have our tank with various feeders in the middle, and on the right hand side we have our control panels and monitoring panels showing you the status of what's happening on the plant. Very easy to set up. We do a plant reset just to bring everything back to its starting position. How many batches we want to complete. In our case, we're going to be doing this for a while. Let me put in 50 batches, which is, let me take this as an operator action. So we've finished, we've changed the number of batches to 50. I will then be able to have another operator action by starting the plant, clicking on the plant start. And as we can see here, we are now filling. So there's various display values happening here. There's color behaviors that are happening, different types of color. Hovering over certain plant equipments, we bring a tooltip behavior. There's a percentage fill behavior in the tank. There's a visibility behavior being shown here with the heating element coming on. Also visibility here when the drain opens. batch is now complete, and we can start the cycle again. That's all working perfect. Our batch simulator has got a few faults pre-programmed, and dead on cue comes our first fault. So you can actually see there's a plant tripped, and in our alarm viewer down on the bottom here, we can see what has actually tripped on the plant. In this case, it's the water. We can analyze, we can send out the technician to go and have a look at it, and once it's solved, we can then reset the alarm. The plant will then carry on. We can then highlight here, we can then acknowledge the alarm. It will go away after a few seconds, and the plant will carry on. What we've done on the right-hand side of the screen, right bottom, is we have various trends. And here we have a window with multiple trend screens, so you can actually see the mixing tank level as one, or the tank temperature as another, in different forms, different ways of displaying them with legends. Or you can have filling, which has got multiple pens, which you can actually click on and off as to how you want to see, which is very great for fault finding. So also as a feature, clicking over here not only brings up a tooltip, but we can have what we call a template. So each time I click on one of these buttons, I bring up the same template, which has got different information regarding to what plant equipment I've actually clicked on. Here I had a look at feeder A and having a look at the trend there, and close that one down, click on feeder B, bring up the same trend window with feeder B's information in it. And the same thing for the agitator or the mixer. So that's an example of a template. Also here, we can click on here, we can bring up a counter, so we can see how many times this thing is counted or run or shut down. You can reset that. These are just various tools that we have built into the system as well. So there's a lot that you can be done on this thing. We can actually, as other people have drawn different views of plants, we have various applications. This is more of an HMI style mimic that the guys have drawn, giving the same information that we have on the SCADA style mimics, but just more in an HMI format. So you've got the same control functions over here. You have the same trend windows coming up, etc., etc. You can actually change the set point here, change this one to 7, and it will change it there. The different controls. You can have a look at the bottling plant, and you can play around with these figures. You can change the size of the bottle. You can change the fill rate to whatever suits your needs. Okay. Some examples of some of the customers that we have drawn mimics inside the Adroit, and they've done quite fantastic looking mimics. Some of these things are using the three-dimensional mimics that you can import as a XAML file, or you can actually have them as more annunciator kind of screens that they've done. But this is all available. All can be configured within the Adroit package. You can have a look at some of these. This particular mimic was drawn by one of our system integrators up in Nigeria, used on a pipeline project. Get more different styles of mimics where you can import pictures in here and display whatever you need. Okay, that is basically the quick overview of what our batching plant is all about, our demo. Let us now go into the designer, and I will show you how to have a look at, from an operator perspective, this is what you would see for the batching plant. Let me just put that onto automatic reset, which is part of the simulation package as well. You can have an auto reset alarm, which will reset it every 30 seconds. But let's start the designer. So what the designer does is allows you to create projects, create graphic forms, add static graphics, and add behaviors to those graphics so you can actually animate everything. So this is the designer. And first up on the left-hand side, we have the enterprise manager. And over here, you would basically, there's three things to sort out here. One is the data sources. Where are you getting the information from? And in our case, we have a data source called Adroit, and this is where all our agents are now sitting. So if we have a look quickly at our analogs, these are all the agents or the tags that have been configured, and we have a certain naming convention that we are using on this one. So these are all the agents that have been put into there. And each one of these agents, when I was saying that our agents are intelligent, each one of these agents has various slots. So these ones are the slots, and this is the high, the high, the low, the out of range signal. So there's plenty of slots where there's a lot of intelligence stored behind here. Right down at the bottom here, there's the value, and that would be your actual value. You can have your raw value or your engineering value, all these things, engineering max, engineering min. So there's a lot of slots that you can actually use in your graphic forms, depending on what you want to show. You can add different data sources. If you have an OLE source, you can actually add it from here. From a management perspective, we want to look at, this is where you set up your security and your profile. I have a look at the profile properties. You would actually show you what you actually, what part of administrator group or what part of the user groups you belong to. From an operator setting perspective, you can actually set up what page you want to view when you actually load the operator. So this will be your default graphic form, which in this case is our landing page, but that is easily configurable. So you can have different operators viewing different landing pages when they open up. You can actually size it and show what, if you want your tabs and your menus and your indexes, etc. on your operator. Then the third section over here is your projects, and this is where we store our projects, and under our projects we have all our graphic forms. So the graphic form that we were looking at here was our batch plant. So this is our batch plant in the design view. So you can see all the features over here as against what was in the operator, which is over here. Okay. So from a design perspective, that's where it's loaded into here. So let me just show you before we carry on any further. Oops, let me just hold that one up. We have a toolbox. So in our toolbox, we have various windows, forms, vectors, controls, data, and gauges that you can actually add to our graphic forms. We have different buttons and checkboxes and text boxes and picture boxes, etc., etc. We have our SCADA controls, which is clocks, pointers, etc. Under data, we've got our line charts or our bar charts that we can add on, which we'll be adding on later on. Let me just show you now quickly what they are. Under Adroit, we've got your alarm and event viewers, and under gauges, there's various kinds of gauges that you can add to your plant. Okay, that's the toolbox. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have our properties tab. So if I click on one of the items here, I can have a look at the properties. It's a label. It's got a text label there, which is called stopped. You can change the color, you can change the shape and the font, and where the text is displayed. There's a lot of features that you can actually change over the size of the box, etc., etc. So each one of these has a property, and you can actually play around with all the properties on each one of these. So quickly, what I want to look at here, I want to show you, once we click on a label or any item on here, you'll see at the top right hand corner there's a little smart tag, and this is where we would actually set our behaviors. So this one here has a color behavior. So basically, if I click on the color, what I'm saying here is that when this tag has a certain value in its status, I will change the color of the button. Simple one over here would be just to change, if that status changes from on to off, I will change the color from green to gray or gray to green. So if I want to simply change the background color of the screen, if I don't like the color Alice blue, I want to change the screen to any other color. Let's be brave and go for a dark turquoise. Oh, that looks good. But we can actually, two ways we can test it. So now that I've made a change to my graphic form, I can actually run it here, and I can see it running as if the operator would be seeing it. So yeah, are we happy with that? And if we are happy, I can then go back to the design mode. Let me just show you something quickly. If I open up the operator, nothing has changed on the operator. You still see that the background color is still as it was, the Alice blue color. If I then click the save button and then go back to the operator, you'll see that the operator has now changed to that new color. Okay. That is just basically that. Where's my mouse gone? Okay, so let us now start to do some configuration. So what we want to do is we want to create a new graphic form. Okay, everybody still with me? Everybody still on the same page as me? Good. Any questions so far? Thanks, Johan. Okay,
yeah, we're with you.
Good. Okay, so if I come into my projects directory under batching, there's two ways. I can either from the menu on the top here create a new graphic form or a new folder, or you could simply do a right click on the batching folder and say create graphic form. What I want to do now is then create a graphic form, and let's just call it sample, and save it. So now this is my graphic form that I've created, and on the right hand side I can actually have a look at the properties, and I can see that the properties are a bit too big for what I want, so let's make it 800 by 600, and I want to change the color to something that is more appealing, like to something like white smoke. How about that? That's fine. Okay, so what I want to do now is add a basic shape to this thing. So there's two ways of doing that. You can either come in from the shapes and wizards menu item and then choose your static graphics, which would give you a whole array of different kinds of items, equipment items, buttons, alarms, pipes, etc. Or you can simply go down to your menu in your enterprise manager, have a look at static graphics and have the same array of pumps and so on. So whatever we've got over here under 2D tanks, we have that over there, or you can simply have a look over here. By right clicking on that, you can do a preview and you can see what it actually looks like. Okay, so whichever way is easier for you guys. So if I want to, we can put them in, but I think for this simple example here, I'm just going to go to my toolbox And from a Windows form, I'm going to add a text box. So I'll click on it, drag it, and click there. And I also want to, it's a Windows form and an example of a vector. I'll put a rectangle, and I'll put a rectangle in here. Okay, simple and easy. Okay, so what I want to do in my display, in my text box, I want to display the batch weight of my product. So basically what, from the operator, whatever comes into here, this batch weight, I want to display that in my little display window over here. So by clicking the smart tag, I can then click on new behavior, and I will have a display value. And the display value will pop up this little dialog to say, what is your input data element? By hitting the 3 dots there for the browse, I can come into here, and this will show me where all my tags are. Look under Adroit, under my agent group, and I know it's an analog, so I will look down for batch weight, double click on it, and that will pull through. As you see, it's got the slot value, which is exactly the one that I want. If you don't want the slot value, you can change it to whatever one you want by simply clicking on one of these slots in the dialog here. Okay, but I'm going to leave it at value. We can also format the string formatting. In this case, I want to leave it like that, but behind I want to just put in kilograms and then say finish. So that's that one done. And on my rectangle, I also want to add a behavior, as we explained earlier. So my rectangle is going to be a tank. So my tank will have a percentage fill behavior. And this percentage fill is going to come also from the batch weight. So as you see, my batch weight is in my current list. So I just double click on it, and it'll automatically bring through my value and the engineering min and the engineering max value. So because we've set it up, we can actually do this in 2 ways. We can either leave it as the default that it was set up in the agent configurator, or I can change it to a 0 and make the maximum here, just say 30. I can then change the color of the fill to a nice orange color, and you can actually fill it from left to right, top to bottom, bottom to top. In my case, I want to just leave it at bottom to top and click finish. And that's my 2 items configured. I can then run it, and I can see there's my percentage fill happening as it happens in my batching plant. Okay, so that's the value, 13.5. I made this thing 30 as a maximum, so we're at virtually halfway. So that is absolutely perfect. Okay, so now what I want to do, we want to be able to launch this graphic form that we've configured. So let me go back to the batch plant, and as you see, all my open graphic forms that I have will be shown over here as multiple displays. So on the batch plant, I can then go to my toolbox, and I'll say, right, let me add a button. So let me put a button over here, and this button I'm going to call sample. So let me go back to here. Instead of being button 2, I will now call it. So it's now a reference to what I want to do, because I want to launch the sample graphic form from this button. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to have a behavior. My behavior would be, let me just think about this, it'll be an execute command. So what am I going to do? There's several commands that you can do. You can open or print or log on, log off. So I want to open a graphic form, and the graphic form that I want to use would be sample, and then I'll click finish. And I want to open this in a modal-less form, and I want to be able to close it on loss of focus. You can center it, you can put it into a position, different locations, or whatever you want to do with it. There's all various setups here. And I'll just click finish. So I want to save this graphic form now. And let's go to the operator. And there's my button, sample. So when I click on sample, I will pop up my little window. And as you see, my plant is in fault condition, so there's nothing running at the moment. So let me just set resets. Then my batch weight is filling up in my display value and my percentage fill behavior. Okay, simple, easy. So let's move on. Let's go further. Let's take it to the next stage. So let's now, we want to create a tag. I want to, from this main water supply pump, I want to display its current. How many amps is this thing drawing? So let me open up the configurator, and I'll just briefly explain what the configurator is all about. So this is the little dialog box that shows you where all our agents are. So depending on what kind of agent you want, or if you want to leave them all blank, you can display all the agents. So here's your pull down menu with all the various agents that you can have. So we'll choose analog because I think I need to, yep, this hasn't been configured yet. I want to add a tag called batch current, or the mixing, or the pump current. I'm just going to choose a name that makes it easier for me. So I'm just going to say pump current. And I'm going to add it. So if I add it, it'll be into my list. And now what do I need to do? Let me see. Let me edit. So when I edit, this is the device span. It's automatically set to 1,000. My engineering span is set to 1,000. I have my alarm limits, my dead bands, and you can actually check it in here to see what's actually happening. So what I want to do here is just change the minimum span and the engineering span to 100. Set my alarm limits to, let's just think about this, 55 on that one. Make this one 45. And then we can update, and then we can say okay. So that has now been edited and it's got the right scaling. We can now scan this one. So what I do is from the tag configurator, I go, and here is telling me what device do you want to connect this one to. So over here we have this is my batch simulator. And as you see on the bottom here, these are all the tags that are connected to the batch simulator. So it has started. So all I need to do is link it to the address in the field or in the simulator where I want to have it. So this is all the tags that are being configured in the batch simulator. So I'm looking for pump current. Here we are. There's the pump current. So just double click on it, it'll bring it through. Close that one. What scan rate do I want? In this case, let's scan it every 500 milliseconds. And all I need to do now is click on scan. And it'll be put into the scan list, and that's okay. So now I've configured an analog. So now I want to display this analog. So as before, we want to put, we want to have the text control again. So a little text box, and over here, we want to put this over here, and this text box is going to be called current. And we can change the name of the text box to pump current. And you can also, you can change the colors, you can change whatever you like on it. We're just going to have, oops. What did I pull across? Did I pull the wrong one over?
You can't have a gap in the name, John.
Oh, sorry, that's a good idea. Yeah. It's where did I put the name? Text box. There we go. Current. Okay. So now I can put in a behavior. Our behavior would be a display value. In this case, we're going to have a look for pump current. And there it is there. And this time I want to show that it is in amps. And I'll say finish. So before we do that, I just want to change something on the simulator. So instead of it only being a very short time there, oops, wrong one. I want to change the set point to say just quickly for 20 seconds to fill it. Then we can go back to our designer. I'll say save it. And now we can run. So this is the box that I've put up here. It's now filling A. It'll be filling B very shortly. And when it's adding the water, we can see the pump current coming through here as displayed. You can display it with decimal points, without decimal points, however you want to display it, all configurable. Okay. Are we all doing well so far? So let's go back to my sample graphic again. The one over here. And I want to quickly show you how to add an alarm viewer. So Adroit alarm viewer, click on it, drop it on the screen. All I need to do now is to say, I want to size it a little bit. I don't want it to be so big. So I can just shrink it down a little bit, and I'll just say dock, no, not to the top, dock to the bottom. So that's going to be displayed on the bottom of my screen. And I also want to add a SCADA control. No, I don't. I want to add data. And I want to put a line chart in here. I want to click that to the top. So this is asking me now, what do you want to display on your trend? So what we want to display here is our pump current. And what do we want to do? We want to link it now to the pump current. And we can also just fill in the tag slots if we ever need them for minimum, maximum, and the description. And that's basically that. I can change the color of the pen if I'm not happy with the blue. I can change it to a darker blue. Yep, there we go. And say finish. So that's my trend configured. So I want to change the axis. So I can edit the chart. I can have a look at the axis. I can say make it automatic. I'll make it 0 to 60. I'll say finish. Also want to shrink it down a little so I don't overwrite my, where did my pump and my display go to? There we go. I want to move these ones down a little. And then I want to take my chart and dock it to the top. So it'll fill the screen like that there. Make it a little bit wider. We can see. Okay, so that's the alarm viewer at the bottom, and I've got a trend window at the top. Save it. And let me run it in the operator. And from the sample button that I put on here, I'll open it up. And there we have my alarm window and my trend window. Trend window is showing pump is not running at the moment, which is then correct. And when it does run, you will see There we go. There goes my trend. Okay. Perfect. Okay, everybody happy so far? Short and sweet, very easy to configure, very simple. Not a train smash. See, our time is nearly up. Dave, do you want to make any comments? Do you want to say something quickly?
No, John, thank you very much. I think it was quite clear. It's looks very familiar to the videos that we did. So yeah, absolutely not. I think it's great, and thank you very much. And thank you for the guys who have taken the time to come and join us today. We'll be doing this every Friday. So if you have any questions, obviously now we're going to go to Q&A, but now's the time to ask them, and we look forward to doing some business.
So, anybody got any questions?
John, just to mention that we've seen a lot of clients using this as an extension to their existing SCADA systems, where they want, just to extend it. Doesn't matter what product it is. You can either use OPC or jump on the same network, but that you can extend this using Adroit to within an organization as well.
Yep, definitely. I think if
there must be some questions, guys.
There has to be something. Okay, Jan, thank you. Musa, anything from your side? Chad, anything? Josias? All dumbstruck. We'll be extending these tech talks with thinking of having them every Friday, where I'll explain more and more, go through some more details every week, just highlight other little bits and pieces of the Adroit package. So please, we'll be sending out invitations. Join us. If you have any questions, there's my email address at the bottom of the screen here. Drop me an email. If you have any questions on installing or configuring or whatever, let me know, and we'll answer you. No problem at all.